Okay, so over the weekend, I watched Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Part 1. I watched it in IMAX. I watched it with a group of some of my friends. So, here are my thoughts on the movie. And since it's a movie in theaters, I feel like there's enough stuff to be able to classify it as such. We'll do no spoiler section, mild spoiler section, which will just be talking about a lot of the individual set pieces without going into the climax or any character deaths, if there are any. And and then full spoilers where it's like, here's the climax, here's any big major twists in the movie, etc., etc. So, no spoilers. It's a fucking Mission Impossible movie. Like, if you watch these movies and you enjoy these movies, you're going to have a good time. It gives you what a Mission Impossible movie is supposed to give you. It gives you Tom Cruise doing insane fucking bullshit stunts that are incredible to watch. It gives you a lot of Tom Cruise running. Which, one of the reasons I really started watching these movies is because I watched a lot of Patrick H. Willems. Shout out to him. And he was talking about, how good the movies are. And I remember he was like, yeah, one of the things I grade these movies on is the quality of Tom Cruise's running. And so when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, there's the running. And then so watching this one in theaters, I was like, yeah, there's a good Tom Cruise run. But, it's a spy movie, so you're going to see fun gadgets. You're going to see Luther. You're going to see Benji. You're going to see Ilsa Faust. What were some of the other stuff I wrote down? It's like shit you would expect from these movies. They're gonna go rogue pretty early in the movie. Yeah, you're gonna get the, mission self-destructing. And this one was pretty fun. I think my favorite is, I think it's in 4, is when it's the telephone and it's supposed to explode and it doesn't quite work. That one's really fucking good to me. Yeah, that's basically it. I had a lot of fun with it. It's a Mission Impossible movie. The theater was pretty fucking packed, and it seemed like everyone was having a good time. When some of the crazy shit was happening, you could hear people, holding their breath. You could hear people be like, yo, what the fuck is he doing? I think there was one part where there was a kid in the theater, and I think, some shit just happened, and I just heard this little girl go, what just happened? And he and Jose were laughing pretty hard. There was a part very early, the first scene in the movie, where someone says the phrase "dead reckoning," which apparently is a navigational term. It's not something I was familiar with. And Jose immediately looks at me. He does the Leo point from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I almost said Once Upon a Time in America. That's a completely different movie. But I kind of got a kick out of that. But yeah, I mean, if you want, I'll put it like this. If you want to watch this movie, go see it. You will have a good time. If you look at it and you're like, I don't know. It looks like it's just going to be a dumb action movie. I don't really care. I would say it's a bit smarter than that. There are some interesting, there are some interesting ideas presented in the movie that might give you what you're looking for. But if you're not impressed by seeing a crazy man doing absolutely insane stunts like the motorcycle thing you see in all the trailers, this movie probably won't do it for you. So moving on for that, now we're going to go into the mild spoilers, which is just me, essentially it's going to be me gushing about all the set pieces and how fucking cool they are and why I think they're cool, or why some of the ideas are fun. Some of them it won't even be that deep, it's just, this was really cool, I liked it. So the first one, the very start of the movie, sorry, I just felt there's some shit in my ear, and now I gotta rub the earwax off. I'm sorry, that's fucking disgusting. Anyway, let's talk about the movie. So it starts in a submarine, and there is an AI on the submarine, and they're testing it. It's supposed to be, super intelligent. It can, hack anything, blah, 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 bullshit. So the AI starts fucking with the people in the submarine. It makes them think that they're seeing an enemy sub that's on their ass, even though it's not there. They try to shoot the enemy sub. There's nothing there. And so the missile, the torpedo, ends up looping around and blowing them up. Which, I was watching and going we're starting with a submarine, exploding or maybe kind of imploding from the impact. A lot of people died. That's surprisingly really topical. I was this is a complete fucking coincidence. This is not the movie trying to capitalize. It's not the movie trying to disrespect the dead in any kind of way. But I was that's pretty eerie on the timing. Okay. Then I believe the next scene after that... No, it's not after that. I think after that it cuts to Ethan getting told his mission, and it's delivered by like an Uber Eats guy, which is pretty funny. After that, we cut to somewhere in the desert. I don't remember what country it was. I believe it... Actually, I don't remember if they said it was Africa or the Middle East. I'm 90% sure they had said the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia. I might be completely off about that. Where Ilsa... Okay, so also, there's a key. Like, that's the MacGuffin in the movie. There's two halves of a key. Not a lot of people are exactly sure what it exactly opens, but it has something to do with this powerful AI that is just referred to as the Entity. But Ilsa apparently has one half of the key, so there's a bunch of bounty hunters on her ass, so... Almost said Tom Cruise, which makes sense. I'm probably going to call Ethan Hunt Tom Cruise just a few times going forward. But Ethan goes to save her, and there's this really long, like, shootout in a fucking sandstorm, which calls back to Mission Impossible 4, which I think is my favorite Mission Impossible movie. With, like, all the shit in Dubai. Like, everything in Dubai is probably my favorite part of any of these movies. It's not just the climbing the Burj Khalifa, though, although... That is my favorite stunt. It is like the long-ass chase, which again, a lot of Tom Cruise running, but the long-ass chase in a sandstorm. So here we're getting the shootout in a sandstorm. Like, this is cool. This appeals to me. I don't know what it is about Tom Cruise and sandstorms being great set pieces, but they just kind of are. You get a shootout. Then after that, you just get a meeting of a bunch of dudes in suits being like, this is what the Entity can do. Like, it's essentially hacking everything and leaving its footprints so everyone knows it hacked but didn't really do anything. It almost feels like it's trolling. Like, I can get into your systems. I can fuck with all your shit. I can put shit on your radar that isn't there. And so that's really what the theme of the movie is. It's about artificial intelligence and the power of truth. And, like, deep fakes and shit. Which also, very topical. That's kind of what I mean when I say, like, the movie might be a little smarter than you think it is. Because I really liked when they were talking about that kind of shit. And some of the stuff they do. Like, there's a point later where, again, Tom Cruise is running. And he's getting, like, directions from Benji. But it's not Benji talking. It is the AI hacking into them using Benji's voice. Which, with AI, we now can easily fucking do. And it's terrifying. To be like, no, Ethan, go here. Ethan, go here. Benji's like, dude, don't fucking listen to it. But he is like, what's the Tom again? Ethan is unable to hear him and shit. Like, that's a really cool part of the movie. Like, anytime, honestly, the Entity is my favorite character in the movie. Like, how it's just so perfectly trolling everybody and showing how in control it is. I don't know if this is my favorite scene in the movie, but it might be, is the airport. The airport, to me, is like everything a Mission Impossible movie. Well, I can't say everything, because there's not like a crazy stunt. But you get cool spy gadgets. You get some, like, a really intense sequence I'll talk about in a second. You get some good Tom Cruise running. You get a lot of, like, sleight of hand. You get people just talking and being super smooth. A lot of witty one-liners and comeback. Like, this is a lot of fun. But there's a part where they find a bag. The bag has a bomb. So Benji is trying to disarm the bomb. And it's like a massive combination lock. And so the bomb through the Entity, I guess the Entity through the bomb, will ask him a bunch of riddles and questions. And every time he gets an answer right, part of the combination is revealed. And at the very end, the correct answer is good luck. Which is just so trolly. And then after he gets it right and it opens, there was nothing in the bomb. It was just an elaborate fuck you. And like, this is so funny. This is easily my favorite antagonist in one of these movies. And I really actually liked the last couple. I like John Lark quite a bit. I don't remember the name of the dude from 5 who was also in 6. But if you've seen him, you know who I'm talking about. I just don't remember his name, but I remember his face. I did like him. I thought he was kind of cool in his own way. But I fucking loved the Entity, man. Like, the airport. Okay, so then we get to Italy, and I'm a little confused, because I think at some point it was in Rome, and some point it was in Venice. So I'm just going to refer to it as Italy. At least, like, with the car thing. I think the car thing was specifically in Rome. You get 2 car chases. One, or so, like, in both of them, I believe. Yeah, in both of them, Ethan is handcuffed to Grace, who is a new character in the movie. She is a thief. And, like, she's not a spy. Like, she's super competent and shit, but she is not a spy. She is a thief. So to make sure she can't escape him again, because she has half of the key, he handcuffs her, so they are together. So they are driving a car while handcuffed together, and at times trying to switch spots in the car, and it's in a police car. So they're going through, like, the streets of Rome. You've got, like, the American spies trying to catch them because Ethan Hunt has gone rogue, blah, 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 blah. You've got the entity's goons, after them, and also the Italian police trying to catch these psychopaths who are doing all this insane driving. It's fun. I think it goes on maybe a little too long to me. I think it was the only set piece I kind of thought that about, but it was pretty fun. Then about halfway through, he's like, okay, we fucked this car up enough. We got to get a new one. We got to get a good spy car. So you see a bunch of cars lined up. There's this really nice, I think it was like this nice silver one. So he goes up to it, and it's not the car he's supposed to get. It's this yellow Fiat. Like this tiny little thing. And I got a good laugh out of that. A lot of people in the theater got a good laugh out of that. And so I feel like the part in the cop car is pretty fun. It goes on a little too long. The shit in the little yellow Fiat, though, I was like, this is gold. I love this shit. This is amazing to watch. Not because it was super cool, though it is. There's a part, like, they're, like, driving down, like, this massive staircase with this crowd of people. That part's really fun, like, sneaking through the alleyways and shit. It was just funny to me. It's a kind of, like, goofy action that I also love. It's like, all right, we got a fun shootout in the sandstorm that was really cool. We had this big car chase. Now we have the Looney Tunes car chase. I'm glad I got my Looney Tunes car chase. Let's see. After that, we get a party. Like, there's a big rave. It's like, this is where a lot of the power players meet, talking about buying the key for the entity, blah, 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 blah. Not long after this is when Ethan has to do all his running, and the entity is guiding him. You do get a fun fight in an alleyway. You've got Ilsa doing a fight on a bridge. Those are both really fun. The overall party is like, okay, this is more of a plot thing, like a cool action thing. Oh, there's a couple fights. I think the part in the party is okay, but the fights outside are really cool. And I feel like that's kind of about all I can say without going into the full spoilers, so I will give a quick countdown. 5, 4... you know what? This is the 7th movie. Let's start at 7. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. So, full spoilers. Ilsa seemingly dies on the fight in the bridge. There is a new antagonist. His name is Gabriel. He is like the representative of the entity. Apparently he's like part of Ethan's past. Like they knew each other and he thought Gabriel died or some shit. And Gabriel's like, I just want to see you suffer because sure dog. And he tells him, he's like, one of these two was going to die. Either Grace, your new friend, or Ilsa, your homegirl. It's up to you. And then Ilsa ends up... So Grace is... I don't really like Grace. I don't hate her by any means. But it feels like, yeah, I understand why she doesn't want to get involved with a lot of these people. She's very clearly in over her head, despite how competent she is. I'm like, you know, I feel like it's like a 3-hour movie, and it's a fun 3 hours. It genuinely is. But I'm like, I feel like this movie would be a lot shorter if you weren't constantly running away and we weren't trying to, like, have to chase you for a good chunk of the movie. It's getting kind of old. But as she runs, she ends up encountering Gabriel, who is waiting for her, and she's like, all right, I'm going to fight him, and she just gets her ass kicked. Then Ilsa shows up and fights Gabriel, and is able to do some damage. Like, it's actually a good fight, but he does kill her. At least seemingly, it's always possible that she survived it, and she's faking death, so they can do shit later. I will not say that is an impossibility, however, it seems that she is dead. And then Grace is like, yes, I'm sorry, like, me running away got Ilsa killed, and like, no, like, it's blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, she's kind of right. I blame you for this. I mean, I blame Gabriel, too. Fuck that guy, but I kind of blame you, too. I was like, it was around I was starting to not super care for Grace, and then that happened. I was like, this ain't it, Chief. I'm sorry, but this ain't it. But so the climax of the movie takes place on a train. Specifically, it takes place on the Orient Express. And yes, people die, so there are technically murders on the Orient Express, which makes me happy. Brain stop for a second. So essentially, it's like, okay, there's going to be a deal for the key, so we got to dress up as someone to do some shit. Grace, this is what you have to do. You're going to be part of the team now. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it makes sense in context. So the motorcycle jump is Ethan is trying to get onto the train, and he was going to get on a part of the train where it kind of slowed down, but the train just sped up and kept going because Gabriel fucked with the brakes. So Benji is like directing Ethan about where he has to go. And so what it is, it's like he has to go like off like a ramp of rock and parachute onto a moving train. And it's really fucking cool to watch. Like, you've seen it in the trailer, but it's still super fucking cool to watch. And then he doesn't land on the train, he lands in the train, which is a pretty fun moment. It's like, okay, Grace is right about to get shot, and right before it happens, boom, Ethan comes in, you're like, it makes sense in context. It feels a little convenient. It's just a little bullshitty, but it's also a Mission Impossible movie. Like, I'll buy it. It's fun. A bunch of shit happens on the train. You get all that shit. There's a fight on the train where Ethan and Gabriel are fighting, and he almost kills Gabriel, but then the other guys stop him, and Gabriel escapes. He's like, I got the key, but Ethan took the key from him, so Gabriel's like, oh, I just kind of fucked up. Whoops. The climax, so the whole train is the climax, but the real, like, climactic set piece stunt of the movie is not the motorcycle thing. If you've played Uncharted 2, I think it's Uncharted 2, you know, the one that starts with a train that's falling and Nathan Drake is escaping from the falling train, that's what this one is. Also, if you've seen Mission Impossible 6, and there's the part where Ethan and John Lark are both in the helicopters, and the helicopter's like starting to fall as they're trying to get out of it, like on the cliff face. It's basically the same thing, except I do think the train is cooler. Because I was watching it at first, I was like, this is just the climax of the last movie. You know, like, it's still cool, but I don't know, it just feels like we just did this. Could we do something a little more unique? And then as it kept going, and it's like, okay, they're escaping from multiple cars. Oh, this is cool. Like, my favorite is in the kitchen. Because, like, yeah, there's just a bunch of shit falling on the ground. It's like a bunch of oil and water, so they're, like, slipping as they go. All the stoves turn on, and the gas is lighting, and then there's a big fire behind them. Like, okay, this is a weird combination of Looney Tunes and Final Destination in, like, a 2-minute time frame. And I love it. I didn't know I needed a Looney Tunes Final Destination set piece in a Mission Impossible movie, but here you go. It was a moment where I remember, not that one specifically, but like throughout the train sequence, I think it was the last car they were in, with just like how gravity is just fucking them up, man. I am watching this. Am I genuinely concerned for the safety of the characters? No. Ethan Hunt is going to get out of this. Grace is probably going to get out of this. And honestly, I'm not going to be super sad if she doesn't. I'd like her to. Like, I don't hate her, but I don't really like her that much either. So I'm not that concerned about the characters. But knowing that old Tommy Cruise actually did this. I don't know who else actually did this, but I know he did. I'm holding my breath for the actors, man, because, like, this is some crazy-ass shit. Holy crap. These crazy motherfuckers actually crashed a train and had to escape from it. No joke. This is cinema. This is why we go to movies, to see this kind of crazy shit in front of us. And I will say this. I love animation. I adore animated films. There are things in animation that you can't do or replicate in live action. But that also holds true the other way as well. Like, if I was watching a sequence like this in an animated movie, assuming, like, it's a very good, well-done animated movie, like, this is really cool, this looks fantastic, it's like, I'd be more, invested in the story, and, like, there's still the spectacle of it as well, because I think, like, a good animated movie, like Puss in Boots 2, just looks phenomenal. Spider-Verse looks phenomenal. But something like this, where, like, they're actual real people doing this crazy shit right now, you can't replicate that one in animation. And this kind of thing is like, this is why I love watching a live action film. Now, story is super important. Like, I want a good story. I want something that makes sense. But I can also get a good story in a TV show. I can get that in a book. I can get that in a game. Like, there is other stuff as well. But this is why I go to a movie. That's why I'm super excited to watch Oppenheimer in IMAX. Like, I want to experience this. So, again, I feel like it's kind of basically all the things I want to talk about. If this is a movie where you want to experience it, do it. Go fucking see it. It's a really good time. But, again, if you're someone who's like, it just kind of looks like a dumb action movie, or I just don't really care for Tom Cruise, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly understandable. This is not something that's going to appeal to you. But if you did watch it, I hope you had a lot of fun. And if you do end up watching the next one, I hope you have a lot of fun with that one too.